Hi guys, it's Alex again and you're on the virrcraft channel. And today we will be creating a diorama based on the universe of The Lord of the Rings. Let me share a bit of the backstory behind the idea of making this diorama. It's quite simple. I wanted to surprise and give a gift to my friend who a big fan of the Lord of the Rings series. I did not struggle with the decision for long. I decided that my diorama would be dedicated to the main hero, Frodo, his loyal companion Sam, and of course Gandalf, without whom it wouldn't be complete, right? These three characters, ready to stand against evil, will be presented in the ruins of the castle or perhaps a stronghold of abandoned outpost or something like that. That's the main idea. In general, the storyline will be served as a reference to several episodes of the series. To start with, we're going to obtain the 3D files that will serve as a basis for our diorama. Instead of using ready-made options based on the Lord of the Rings, I mean like already pre-made dioramas, and just simply print them and give, I wanted to find something similar yet unique. I managed to find some fantastic models quite quickly. They are really impressive, and I'll leave in the links to them in the description. If you'd like, you can support the author and purchase these files or some else for printing. Personally, I don't know the author and this is not a sponsored promotion, and I'm simply sharing them in case if you're interested. By the way, speaking of support, don't forget to support me as well. I greatly appreciate reading your comments and seeing the numbers of subscribers on my channel grow. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, it would make me very happy if you did. So moving forward, when I found the proper 3D files, I had to search for suitable building ruins, which took more time than finding the quite popular characters. I found the necessary file on Thingiverse, and they are completely free. I will also add the link down below to them in the description section as usual. So once the files were found, the next step was to prepare them for printing and send them off to be printed. For printing the walls, I choose my FDM printer, the elegoo Neptune 3 Pro, and I must say it performed wonderful for this task. I used the grey filament also from elegoo. As for the figures, I printed them on my elegoo Mars 3 Pro. For this printing, I used the water-washable ceramic grey resin from elegoo. Once everything is printed, the next step is clearing, drying and priming. It's the standard preparation process. The next stage is to figure out how everything will be arranged. As a base for the diorama, I decided to use the canvas board like this and build a future diorama on an XPS foam base. It's actually my first time working with foam, and it's quite fascinating. Foam allows for convenient shaping of the base, giving it the desired texture. I even created a thing like kind of imitation puddles. Well, talk about this later. So foam offers a wide range of customization options and is quite user-friendly, I should say. However, I must note that when I'm using a knife, it tends to produce many small pieces. And also do not forget, there is a risk of getting cut. So if you are using sharp hobby or other knives, please be extremely cautious. To ensure that all the elements fit and properly positioned, I came up with a detailed plan and sketching a diagram. Just take a look. It looks very professional, doesn't it? Oh, and to have the beautiful overview about whole diorama, I started contradicting with the creation of detailed sketch. Yeah, sharing it with you. So once everything is ready and let's call it a base colored or coated with a base color, we can position and secure the elements on our field. I used a hot glue gun for this purpose. It bonds the elements together excellently and saves time compared to waiting for the model glue or similar adhesive to fully dry. When everything is in place, we move on to the most exciting stage, in my opinion, which is painting. We will paint figures separately and then place them on the prepared, painted and nearly finished diorama. I won't delve too much into the painting process, not because it's not interesting or anything like that, but because capturing the process itself can be quite challenging. Those who paint miniatures understand how difficult it can be to film the process. Moreover, I sit in such awkward positions and use angles that it's hard to imagine how to capture the entire process beautifully without getting in the way. However, if you are interested in seeing more of painting process, let me know in the comments. We can explore and think the ways to improve and share it with the next videos. So, what can we conclude about the painting phase? The key is not to be afraid to experiment. You can always repaint areas that did not turn out as expected or did not quite work well from your opinion. Additionally, it's essential to paint ahead and determine the exact color you want to achieve. Whether it's referencing to original movie or simply following a color palette, pay attention to this aspect. Painting miniatures becomes much easier when you know what to do and what to expect. Of course, if you have years of experience or a deep understanding of color and paints, you might not need to reference on hands. You will instantly know which color goes where, and I'm generally surprised if you've made it this far and watched how I do it, or whatever. If you're a beginner like me, having a reference and an idea of the colors to use can be incredibly helpful. For color schemes, I simply searched for movie stills, featuring the characters I wanted and tried to replicate similar color palettes, taking into account the model I have and what I can achieve for sure. Overall, it turned out pretty well, I should say. Let's quickly proceed to the quick overview of characters. Once the minis are ready, we add some small details to the rest of the diorama. These little elements, which serve as an asterisk, I should say, are painted separately and then placed into the overall composition. I've tried to include reference to other episodes of this series that might not completely fit into our narrative, but are still relevant to the entire universe. This helps establish a general tone and add an interesting aspects to observe. Since our diorama is quite large, I've made an effort to add enough additional elements to avoid a flat appearance, but without overwhelming it and distracting from the main figures. If you are using unfamiliar materials, it's better to conduct several tests on separate small pieces instead of applying everything directly to the final diorama. Let me explain what I'm talking about. For example, I plan to create a small water feature using glue to emulate the water, to put something inside, you will see. And initially everything looks great until the glue starts to dry. Firstly, it's significantly reduced in volume, but that was not the worst part. The most concerning issue was the appearing of bubbles during the drying process. Therefore, I decided to replace the glue with transparent resin. I created a test piece again, painted it and filled it with the resin. Once again, bubbles appeared. So we have to start everything from the beginning. And I tried again, this time pouring the resin in several steps to reduce the thickness of each hardened layer. So I hope this will help eliminate the bubbles. And the good news is that it works. So we can now use resin on the final diorama. Do not forget to use your personal protection equipment when working with resin. I use a respirator and rubber gloves. Always read the safety instructions. Additionally, when you're working with ultraviolet light, remember to wear protective glasses. Safety should be a top priority. In summary, we add the finished touch, complete everything and move on to the main event. The grand review of the final results. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.